or we do it because our mother did it. And so the two personalities developed. Now, what can happen in some cases is clinical schizophrenia. And this is a mental condition. And it's not light, where a person actually switches personalities, because if you have to keep switching, you're at school and you act one way, you're at home and you act another way, and you're switching back and forth. Suddenly, you can't switch. It gets caught, you change. And so the dual personality. Now, all of us do role playing, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you go to play sports, you wear the clothing of people who play in sports. So you play a role in a sense. But when the change affects your character, your value system, now you're in a dangerous situation. In one hand, the person is good, he's around Muslims, he has a clean mouth, he goes amongst non-Muslims, he starts swearing. His character starts changing. This is a dangerous condition that the younger generation finds themselves in. The Prophet ﷺ has told us, تَجِدُ مِنْ شَرِّ النَّاسِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ يَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ ذَا الْوَجْهَيْنِ الَّذِي يَأْتِي هَؤُلَاءِ بِوَجْهٍ وَهَؤُلَاءِ بِوَجْهٍ. Oh, kama qala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You will find from amongst the most despicable people on the day of resurrection is the one with two faces. He comes to one group with one face and to another group with another face. Two faces. This is a dangerous situation. And so, because of this crisis, we went to the young people and tried to ask them what they feel about the situation. And I want to share with you some of the discussions or some of the points that were brought up by young people in Canada, in the United States, in UK, across South Africa, who are discussing these issues concerning the crisis of the youth. The first point that was brought up by many of the young people is racism. Now, they are growing up in a society, in many of the societies here, where at least technically speaking, racism is not allowed. And even Muslims carry bias with them. We carry it from our villages. A qawmiya, a qabaliya, a tribalism. We carry from our societies. In some places, the tribes, the people say, well, I'm not going to marry that person, because those people come from down on the river, and we live on the hill. We don't marry these people, man. And they bring this into the masjid. They bring this bias into the community. In Toronto, I lived with the Somali community very closely. There were two Somali brothers in the masjid. I knew them both. After a couple years, the masjid, it was 50% Somalis. And so one day, and this is something especially for our Somali brothers and sisters who are here, one day I was dealing with an issue. It was Ogaden, Western Somalia. Okay? There was a fighting going on in Ogaden. And so I connected Ogaden with Kurdistan and with Philistine, and we were supporting what was on. A group of people came to me after Salat. They said, Brother Abdullah, you're an innocent man. Your mu'adhin is Darod. The Ishaq are in the eastern side of Toronto. The Hawiya are on the west. I said, what is this, man? Everybody's got the same name, the same madhab, the same food, the same culture, but yet, now it started to come clear. This is how tribalism can get us. And the brothers and sisters know what I'm talking about. Then a sister came to me, a beautiful sister, and she was crying. So what is going on? She said, I want to marry this brother, and the parents, the mother said, if you marry this girl, I will disown you. You're out of this family. Why? Because she was from a people called the Midigan. And the Midigani people, and brothers and sisters know what I'm talking about. The Midigani people, one of the riwayas concerning Midigan is that the Hawiya and Darod and Ishaq and Midigani were on a journey. And the food ran out, and there was a dead ostrich. So the three tribes, they didn't eat, but the Midigani, they ate. He ate. And so they cursed him until the day of judgment. And so nobody will marry from the Midigan. Why? What is wrong? Why? Where is the hadith about deen being the primary issue in marriage? Tribalism. Nationalism. It is a filth. And when it comes inside the mind, the people can't think right. And so the young people expressed this to us. They said in words, you know, our parents want us to practice Islam, but they're biased. Man. I want to marry somebody, they're not from our tribe. It's another color. I want to marry that person. Islam doesn't say to stop, but you tell me to stop. This is a contradiction. And if we want the younger generation to repair itself, then we, the adults, we have to repair ourselves first. Another issue that they brought up is the issue in parenting itself. Some of the parents, they said, the young people said, some parents are too strict and some parents are too liberal. Some parents, everything is haram. Everything is no. And other parents, they say, no, just do what you want to do, but when you reach 21, you're going to marry your cousin. It doesn't go like that. It doesn't go like that, man. You can't expect a quick fix after the person is raised with a different lifestyle. And so they complained about parenting. And they said our parents should come to the public schools. Go inside the school system and see some of the problems that we face. Don't just stay outside of our generation. Come inside with us and see what you put us in. We didn't ask you to be born in this world. Allah brought us through you, and you have a responsibility. Another point they spoke about was the issue of peer pressure. And the issue of peer pressure is a crisis. And that is that the influence upon the younger generation amongst their peers, amongst their friends, it has become, to a certain extent, even more powerful than their parents themselves. Peer pressure influences dressing styles. It influences attitudes toward life. It influences the places that you go, the people who you are with. And so peer pressure is a great struggle. And in some cases, Muslims even fell into dating. And this may be a question that always comes up when we are talking about the youth. And they were falling into this, not understanding the Sharia, not understanding the way that Islam sets up for you to get to know somebody, but living in the society and then falling into the trap. Another point, which is a great crisis for the younger generation, is the crisis of drugs. Drugs are pouring into the land. And we, to a certain extent, the older generation, are part of a drug-based culture. Because some people, even though they may not be taking hard drugs like cocaine and like heroin, but they are involved with drugs, sometimes sleeping pills. They're taking sleeping pills to sleep. The pills are all around the house. So the child sees these pills. Some of the parents, even when they were young, or when they're in a wild part of their own life, they might drink a little alcohol here and there. It has happened in our ummah. Some people in some parts of our community even chew qat. They chew the qat. Right? Mira. And they chew the mira. And when they chew this drug, it keeps you up for 25, 30 hours. And some forms of this mira, especially in Yemen and Somalia and different countries, some form of this drug is psychedelic. So if the young person sees you chewing mira and staring out into space and can't go to sleep for 30 hours, and then somebody comes along to them and says, you want to have a good time, take ecstasy. Look at that beautiful name. Take ecstasy. And this is how they use these names on these drugs, you know. Beautiful names they give. I can remember being in Medina, and the brothers in Los Angeles wrote to us and they said, you know, there's a new drug, angel's dust. Angel's dust, man.